Did Meghan Markle really get frozen out of the most exclusive celebrity night on earth, or is Hollywood hiding something far more brutal behind those glittering Met Gala cameras? Because once again, while the world watched the biggest stars on the planet climb those famous steps under flashing lights and screaming photographers, one name dominated conversations without even being inside the building. Meghan Markle was nowhere to be seen. And suddenly the internet wasn't talking about dresses anymore. It was talking about power, rejection, status, loyalty, and whether the doors to elite celebrity culture have quietly slammed shut on one of the most controversial women in the world. The silence around her absence felt louder than the actual event itself, because the Met Gala is not just some rich celebrity costume party where influencers pose for social media selfies. No, this is Hollywood's private scoreboard. This is where relevance gets measured in camera flashes. This is where fashion royalty, billionaires, movie stars, political dynasties, music icons, and elite insiders gather to remind the world exactly who still matters. And sitting above all of it like the queen controlling an empire is Anna Wintour, the woman whose guest list decisions can make celebrities feel untouchable or completely erased. That's why people notice absences almost more than appearances. Missing 1 year, nobody cares. Missing year after year after year, suddenly people start whispering. And whispers in Hollywood are dangerous because whispers become theories. Theories become narratives. Narratives become reputations. That's exactly why Meghan's absence exploded online again this year. Because love her or hate her, nobody can pretend she's irrelevant. She remains one of the most talked about women alive, trapped between celebrity culture and royal scandal, between Hollywood ambition and palace drama. And every single May, when the Met Gala arrives without her name attached to it, the internet immediately starts asking the same uncomfortable question. Why? Why does someone with global recognition, Netflix fame, royal status, endless headlines, celebrity friendships, and constant media attention still remain outside the most elite room in fashion? Then things got even messier the second Serena Williams appeared at the event looking completely comfortable inside that glamorous machine. Cameras surrounded her. Fashion blogs obsessed over her. Social media instantly started connecting dots because Serena has long been viewed as one of Meghan's strongest celebrity allies. But there she was, standing effortlessly inside the exact world Meghan herself once looked perfectly positioned to dominate. And suddenly, every photo became suspicious. Every friendship became a clue. Every red carpet image felt like a silent message nobody wanted to say out loud. The reactions exploded across gossip pages and comment sections because in these elite circles, visuals are everything. Who you stand beside matters. Who invites you matters. Who designers choose to dress matters. Even who gets photographed entering together matters. Hollywood doesn't always destroy people publicly anymore. Sometimes it happens quietly through exclusion, through not being seen, through simply not being invited into the frame. And while celebrities were drowning in diamonds and couture inside New York's biggest spectacle, Meghan was reportedly attending a quiet family-connected gathering in Chicago instead. The contrast felt almost too perfect. On one side, excess glamour, flashing lights, screaming photographers. On the other, simplicity, calmness, low-key normality. Some people called it refreshing. Others thought it looked suspiciously strategic. Because in modern celebrity culture, nothing is accidental anymore. Every appearance is branding. Every location sends a message. Every photograph tells a story before a single word is spoken. And while the Met Gala overflowed with dramatic fashion and carefully manufactured spectacle, Meghan's softer public image created an entirely different narrative online. Suddenly, people weren't just debating fashion. They were debating positioning. Was Meghan intentionally stepping away from elite Hollywood culture? Or was Hollywood quietly stepping away from her? That question started spreading everywhere. And once it starts, it never really disappears. Then came the most shocking part of all. Meghan Markle has never attended the Met Gala. Not once. Think about that carefully. A globally famous Duchess, former actress, Netflix personality, royal headline machine, one of the most discussed women of the last decade. Yet somehow she has never walked those famous steps even a single time, while influencers with a fraction of her fame have entered effortlessly. At some point, people stop seeing coincidence and start seeing a pattern, because Hollywood runs on invisible hierarchies, and silence inside elite circles can sometimes scream louder than scandal itself. itself. The internet immediately spiraled into deeper theories. Some critics mocked her fashion choices mercilessly, claiming she never truly fit the high fashion world. Others argued something darker was happening behind closed doors. Quiet tensions, broken alliances, fading connections, relationships that once looked powerful publicly but slowly cooled in private. One name kept resurfacing over and over again: Edward Enninful. Years ago, his collaboration with Meghan during her British Vogue project looked like a perfect power alliance. Fashion, royalty, media influence, celebrity status. It seemed unstoppable, but over time the public connection appeared to fade into silence. No major collaborations, no visible closeness, no continued partnership. And in industries built entirely on relationships, silence always means something. Then there's the larger machine surrounding the Met Gala itself. This isn't simply about popularity. It's about belonging to a network of editors, designers, stylists, luxury executives, billionaires, and legacy institutions that quietly control cultural relevance. And right at the center sits Anna Wintour, whose influence stretches far beyond fashion magazines. Every invitation she approves sends a message about status, trust, alignment, and power, which is why Meghan's complicated public image creates such a strange contradiction. She's massively famous, yes, but fame alone isn't enough for spaces like this. Elite institutions care about predictability, loyalty, reputation, long-term positioning. And Meghan's public story over the last several years has been anything but controlled. From explosive interviews to documentaries to public battles with the royal family, her image transformed from Hollywood actress into something far harder to categorize. Not fully royal, not fully celebrity, not fully outsider, not fully insider. And maybe that's exactly the problem, because the Met Gala thrives on carefully curated identities. Everyone inside that room represents something specific within the cultural machine. But Meghan exists in multiple worlds at once, and that unpredictability creates tension. Attention and trust are not the same currency in elite circles. One gets headlines, the other gets invitations. And maybe that's why the Met Gala conversation keeps getting bigger every single year. Because this no longer feels like gossip about one missing celebrity appearance. It feels like a public decoding of where Meghan Markle currently stands inside the invisible hierarchy of fame itself. Is she intentionally building a separate lane away from traditional Hollywood approval systems? Or are those elite doors simply becoming harder to open than people expected? Nobody outside those circles truly knows. But what makes this story so fascinating is that the Met Gala acts like a giant yearly snapshot of influence. It exposes who dominates the moment, who controls culture, and who still belongs at the highest level of celebrity relevance. And despite not physically being inside the room, Meghan somehow remained one of the most discussed names of the entire night anyway. That's what makes the whole situation feel almost eerie, because absence at an event this powerful doesn't erase someone from the conversation. Sometimes it does the opposite. Sometimes not being there becomes the story itself. And once the internet notices a pattern, it never lets go. Year after year, the same thing happens. New influencers arrive, movie stars rise, designers rotate, athletes suddenly become fashion royalty. Yet one detail stays frozen in place. Meghan Markle never walks those famous steps. Not once. Not even during the peak of royal obsession surrounding her name. That's why people started looking backward at history itself, searching for clues hidden inside the Met Gala's past. Because royalty has absolutely been welcomed into that world before. Princess Diana turned her appearance into one of the most iconic moments in fashion history. Queen Rania entered that elite space effortlessly. Aristocratic figures like Charlotte Casaraghi blended luxury, tradition, and celebrity culture without controversy. So the idea that Meghan simply doesn't fit because of royal associations completely falls apart. If anything, she should have been perfect for the Met Gala ecosystem. A former actress turned Duchess wrapped in non-stop global media attention? That sounds exactly like the kind of crossover spectacle the event usually loves, which makes the silence surrounding her absence feel even stranger. No confirmed rejection, no official explanation, just whispers. Endless whispers. And those whispers always seem to lead back toward the same elite names. Edward Enninful keeps appearing in conversations because his relationship with Meghan once looked incredibly powerful publicly. Their British Vogue collaboration created headlines everywhere. It felt modern, influential, progressive, untouchable. But then, nothing. No continued public alliance. No visible evolution of that partnership. In industries where relationships are currency, disappearing connections matter. People inside fashion circles know notice those shifts immediately because elite culture runs on long memories and carefully maintained alliances. Nobody needs public feuds when silent distance sends the message clearly enough. Then there's Serena Williams, whose presence at the Met Gala only intensified everything. For years, Serena has been viewed as one of Meghan's closest celebrity supporters. But this year, the optics surrounding her appearance exploded online because she wasn't alone. She moved comfortably alongside powerful figures deeply integrated into elite fashion and aristocratic spaces, including Emma Thin. And in these circles, nothing is ever viewed as random. Every photo becomes symbolic. Every partnership becomes a statement. Suddenly, social media started treating Serena's glamorous Met Gala visibility like some kind of coded message about where Meghan currently stands within those same worlds. Fair or unfair, perception became reality in real time. Meanwhile, another name started floating around online discussions constantly: Lawrence Sanchez. Her growing connection to billionaire and elite cultural circles added another layer to the gossip storm because critics immediately framed the Met Gala as a world increasingly shaped by tightly connected power networks that Meghan somehow no longer moves comfortably inside. Again, nothing officially confirmed, just endless speculation feeding itself through celebrity blogs, podcasts, reaction videos, and comment sections obsessed with decoding hidden meanings behind every invitation and every missing seat. The problem is that elite systems love consistency. They love people who fit neatly into recognizable categories. Meghan doesn't anymore. She exists in this strange space between insider and outsider, between establishment and rebellion, between glamour and relatability. And maybe that's exactly why the Met Gala conversation keeps haunting her name every year, because the event itself balances two opposing forces. It's theatrical and modern, but also deeply tied to old institutions, legacy power structures, and elite social networks. And Meghan's story over the last several years has been anything but institution-friendly. Interviews attacking royal systems, explosive documentaries, constant media battles, public repositioning. Massive visibility can help in entertainment circles, but inside more traditional elite spaces, it can create tension instead of trust. That tension became impossible to ignore once people started comparing the two completely opposite worlds Meghan seemed trapped between this year. On one side stood the Met Gala itself: diamonds, couture, billionaires, controlled exclusivity, impossible glamour. On the other side stood Meghan's quieter Chicago appearance tied to family connections and everyday relatability. The visual contrast was enormous, and suddenly the internet split into two completely different interpretations. One side argued Meghan was intentionally rejecting elite celebrity culture in favor of a more grounded image built around authenticity and accessibility. The other side believed something much darker, that the elite world itself had quietly repositioned her outside its most protected spaces. That's what makes this story feel so addictive. Nobody has a clear answer. Every interpretation depends on perception. Supporters say Meghan no longer needs validation from institutions like the Met Gala. They believe she's building her own lane independent from traditional gatekeepers. Critics see a different pattern entirely. They think relationships weakened, alliances shifted, and doors simply stopped opening as easily as before. In Hollywood, those changes rarely happen dramatically. No giant public rejection, no screaming headlines, just fewer invitations, fewer appearances beside powerful names, fewer visible connections, and eventually the absence itself becomes impossible not to notice.